Who's he talking to? We got Daddy Murphy on the Oozy channel. He's playing his guitar just like a maestro. Daddy Murphy on Oozy TV. Daddy Murphy, what you doing to me? Rock and roll. Go, go. Go, go. Go, go. Go, gotta go. Go, go, baby. Go, go. Woo. Woo-hoo. Woo. Well, he had the beer last night, and he's coming here, but he's not shy, Gary. You've got the moves. Go, Gary, go, Gary, go, play the blues. Put him on the
We
spot.
just
there.
wrote a song there, Jeff wrote a song there, and then, well done, mate.
Just that, you know, I've always like, we have a laugh, you know, because I met Gary with obviously with these Smoky Mo's and playing in Nelly
Yeah.
Foley's
Yeah.
every Saturdays, and we used to have a
Days.
laugh. He used to come in some states because he used to come in, he played like 3 gigs in a day.
Yeah,
He played the Cavern,
yeah, that's right, yeah.
you know, then from there he went to the Little Empire,
Oh, that's a great gig,
Yeah.
in town.
and then he just rolled in, you know, the big crowd, he just like, plug in. I was thinking,
That's the thing, isn't it? I think you're the same as well, Jeff. As soon as you see an audience there, as soon as you forget about if you're tired or anything. You just do it, you know. I mean,
Give
you're
them
the
what they
same.
want.
I've seen you sometimes walk into a gig and you've gone, oh, you know, I've just done this in the house, or I've just done, and you know. And as soon as the mic comes on, you know, as soon as you get the mic and that captive audience, you just switch on and you're an entertainer again. So I think that's the thing that keeps us looking so young.
Yes, yeah.
And stuff like that. Yeah, but I you know, I'm thinking about the old days when we used to lift all the gear in, you know, and carry all the speakers in. Quite lucky now, because a lot of the gigs we do now,
Yeah,
the PA's in and everything.
that's right.
So a lot of the humping side of it, you know, we don't have to do. You know, we're humping all them big speakers in and up and down stairs and that.
You're stinking of sweat before you even get on there. you know.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
there was one time we played with. Do you remember the Dooleys?
The
Remember them?
Dooleys,
We
yeah.
had a few hits, the Dooleys, back in the 70s. So it was about 78, 79 this. And we had a gig in Trenton Gardens,
Okay.
which is in Stoke-on-Trent. It's this massive big marquee. And the Dooleys PA was all set up. And we were only supporting. So our singer, Peter then, who we were talking about
Yeah.
before from Casino, he went up to their manager and said, can we use your PA? You know, and back line,
Please, yeah.
please. And he went, oh no, sorry, he said, you can't use any of our stuff, you know. But the carry with the equipment
Oh.
was like the length of this street, you know. So we said, okay, so we backed the van up as close as we could get it. We had this long wheel based tranny, you know, remember the old long wheel with the double wheels on the back, the old long wheelbase transit van, you know, full of equipment.
Cursing that. Yeah.
So anyway, we got the gear on the stage, set it up, done the sound check, and we went on between 7:30 till 8, and then of course the Dooleys were coming on. But everyone's paid to see the Doolies.
Yeah.
They'd had about 5 hits in the charts at the time. So we done well, done our bit, you know, doing songs like Listen to the Music by the Doobie Brothers, stuff like that, you know,
Yeah.
all harmony stuff. And doing it well then, we were a good band. So we came off, And we thought, well, we can't get our equipment off. They're going straight on. We may as well watch them. So standing at the bar in this place, the place was rammed. And people had paid about, I think it was about 18 quid a ticket. It's a lot of money then,
Yeah.
you know, going back all that
Half a
time.
week's wages, that, yeah.
And it was about, I'd say it's over 1,200 people in there. And the Doolies came on. And the very first number, big intro, ladies and gentlemen, the Doolies.
The Doolies, yeah.
And the PA went bang, a big spark came from all the power amps. All the lights went off and everything. And then everyone went, ooh, what's going on there? It was a big crescendo to nothing. And we're standing at the bar. And of course our PA's still set up. So their manager comes over and he goes to Peter, our singer, can we use your PA? And Peter went, no, sorry.
Yes!
You wouldn't let us use yours.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Gary, get the gear off. All the lads. All the lads, the drummer, we all manned the punts and got the equipment off. And we
No
won.
mercy. Good on you.
So,
yeah.
so it was, what it was we were just, the way they treated us, we just went, no, that's it. And it was a lesson that I was saying to Peter, oh, let them use it, come on, you know, all these people here, you know, let them use it. And he said, no, not the way he spoke to me, he said, and I'll never forget that sort of. So any big stars out there, you're never too big, you know, it can happen. So always be nice.
But it's like fellow musicians, they know the hardship of like setting up and, you know, as you said, you know, you go through gigs sometimes and people go, yeah, it's all right. Most of our like people that you know go, yeah, no problem, just plug in. And then you get, it's all set, but like, there you go, well then Mersey beat Peter, stood us down. And the Doolies then became the Ghoulies.
But what happened then was, I think they had to get equipment brought in. The gig still went ahead, apparently. But no, they wouldn't let us use their PA, so we wouldn't let them.
Did you have a laugh on the way back, laughing about it?
Yeah, but what made it worse was them days, you've done them yourself.
Yeah.
It was a no pickup, so you weren't getting paid on the night. You know, it was paid by cheque and you all had to wait for your money. And we all needed the money then, really big time, you know. So it's like, oh, we've come all the way to Stoke-on-Trent, been treated like that, and we're not getting paid anyway till next week through the office. So we may as well go home. And that would have meant us waiting as well, another hour and a half, and then getting our equipment off. So you had to look at all stuff like that. And so the pros and cons, we thought, no, we'll just get our equipment off now.
Well, talk about, listen, one of your major, like, sort of times was the Guitar Legends. You actually done a show.
Yeah.
Or in the Flora Pavilion in New Brighton, but you played, like, Guitar Legends, as in every person who got the guitar, like, from, was it Buddy Holly? Where did you start off with on that?
Well, it was the show, my idea was, always wanted to do, like, a history of the guitar, but live, you know, in one night. So we still do it actually, but we featured different guitarists over the years. First time we did it was in the old Floral Pavilion before they built this new one.
Okay.
In New Brighton, and the grand old lady, I used to call her, it was a wonderful theatre that, acoustic wise. I mean, the theatre we've got now is beautiful. It's all modern and everything, but I love the old theatre as well. And I got Billy Butler, as you know, broadcasting legend Billy. Yeah. From Radio Merseyside.
Hold Your Plums.
Yeah, Hold Your Plums, yeah. He's still doing that now, Billy, on Liverpool Live.
Billy
Radio.
and Wally,
yeah. Billy and Wally. I mean, they're icons, aren't they, on Merseyside. And I got him to narrate the story because he's so knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So when I phoned him, I said, Billy, I've got this idea. And he went, oh, I'm up for that. I said, you basically intro the song, give a bit of information about them. And then we, you know, it's who influenced who. So we start off with, like, in the old days, Django Reinhardt, you know, which was like 1930s.
Django Reinhardt?
Yeah, he was like the pioneer of gypsy jazz. And it's all stuff like that. You know, gypsy jazz was like that sort of thing, yeah.
Tyson Fury,
you know.
No, gypsy jazz.
Yeah, well, he was amazing, Django Reinhardt.
Okay.
He lost his 2 tips of his fingers, you know, in a fire, and carried on playing. He was a gypsy boy. He was Belgian born.
Yeah.
But when he lost the 2 stubs off them 2 fingers, the index fingers, he carried on in a fire. He was only 18, and he went on to be. He carried on playing. Went on to be the biggest guitarist at that time, of that era. You know, he was like our modern version of Eric Clapton in them days. You know. So then the show goes from like to Django into the next sort of step, which was like Chet Atkins, people like that.
Chet Atkins?
Chet Atkins.
Chet Atkins, yeah.
Yeah, you remember Chet? And he was like, you know, amazing jazz player.
What sort of like?
And country picking. He'd do more like sorts of country picking as be like all that stuff. And then it goes into the ones who I grew up with, which was like, you remember Bert Whedon and his book Playing a Day?
Playing a Day.
You must.
I remember it on the shelf, but I was not very much of a good reader, but inspired me, and it was just Bert Whedon.
Yeah, well, he come up with something called Guitar Boogie.
Yeah.
Playing a Day doesn't work, by the way. I'm still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had the book for 50 odd years.
Playing a Day, yeah. Is that what they do, like they do the rhythm and the melody at the same time? Is that
well, his stuff was... do you remember...
Can you pass that?
Yeah. And he was a great player, he'd do all that. You know, all the jazzy stuff as well.
Do you know, I can say one thing as well, because you're playing this on acoustic. I mean, it's hard, you know, if you're on electric,
it's a lot easier.
You get all the bends and that, you know.
Yeah, we just thought the acoustic could be doing amplifiers all over you.
So from then, did you go into like the rock and roll, and was it Chuck Berry, was it then?
Yeah, and obviously after Hank Marvin, which was, you know, remember that bit? He used to go. He used to do the dance. I can't do it now. The Shadows dance, you know, the Shadows walk.
Fantastic.
And then obviously in the show in Guitar Legends, then it goes into like Chuck Berry, which was great. Chuck, you know. Started like a carpenter, burnt some wood. Hit the country boy and Johnny be good. Never ever be no matter somewhere. Play back guitar like a ringing a bell. Go Johnny, go, go. Go Johnny, go, go, go. Go Johnny, go, go, go. Go Johnny, go, go, go. Johnny be good. Woo. I mean, one of the most influential players of all time, Chuck, for me. Like,
I mean, the way he moves as well, you know, he was hopping on one foot, you know.
Yeah, he used to do the duck walk, and then they call that the duck walk. He used to do that when we were in the cabaret band and do it and all that. And AC/DC started doing it, didn't he, Angus?
Yeah,
he took it on.
Took it on, yeah.
Later,
right.
you know, Angus Young, who I love AC/DC. But Chuck Berry talked about the Cavern before. He played the Cavern in 1967, Chuck Berry, on the 27th of February. I got it in my mind because it's on the wall there. Yeah, Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry, the Cavern, yeah.
Incredible. I mean, it was when the Beatles went global. They brought in the Hollies and bands like that as their replacements because they obviously couldn't do the Cavern anymore. They were too big. And then they got people like even the Rolling Stones played there in 1963.
The Cavern as well.
The Cavern, yeah. And looking through the history of that place, second to none, Jeff, because I didn't know this till I watched the documentary on it. There's a documentary called The Beat Goes On, The Cavern. It was made by a friend of mine, Colin McCune, who's a TV producer. He'd done a fabulous job on it, with Billy Heckle, the boss. And it was from the very early stages of the Cavern, you know. Stevie Wonder played there when he was 16.
Oh, wait.
Yeah. And he was billed as little Stevie Wonder, and he was paid £100 flown in from the States with his band. I think that was 60, a bit later, 66.
That's before he even like sort of went world famous.
Well, before he went like massive, yeah. Who else played there? There was the Who's played there. Status Quo played there before they were famous. And one of my favourite ones was Rod Stewart played there at the Cavern. Before he became famous, and he wasn't even top of the bill. It was Long John Baldry was top of the bill. And there's a poster there in the Cavern.
That must be like a rabbit's foot, then like a bit of luck, you know, for the like musicians.
Yeah, and then of course all the Merseybeat bands that we just mentioned, you know, all the likes of even the ones who never made it, you know, the Big Three and all them.
Yeah.
Great bands, you know. But the history of that Cavern.
Yeah.
Jimmy Page played there in '67 from Led Zeppelin. And Clapton played
the Yardbirds, was it the Yardbirds?
Yeah, and Clapton played there with the Yardbirds, right, yeah. Eric Clapton 4 times during 1964. And Elton John played there.
Elton John, did he?
Yeah, he was in a band called Bluesology at the time. And if you watch, you know, Rocket Man, the movie, have you seen that?
I've seen it, yeah.
I love it. I think it's great.
It's brilliant the way he's done that, yeah.
And I think there's going to be a musical of that. Because you know the way they've done it, you can see it being a musical, can't you? But yeah, Elton John played there. He was only known as Reg Dwight then, that's his name.
Yeah.
And he was the keyboard player in Bluesology, and he played there a couple of times. Pictures of him in the Cavern, sitting at the back, Elton John then. So the history of that place, you know, talking about histories of the guitar, obviously, you know.
This is going backwards. That you went into the Cavern, I mean, there's that many people that you can play, you know. Who's been your influential guitar player you've looked up to and thought, you know, have you got
the Guitar Legends show, getting back to that,
yeah.
But from likes of Chuck Berry onwards, obviously the Beatles came into fold then, you know. The Beatles were massive for me, basically because of the songs. George Harrison's riffs as well. And George Harrison came up with riffs like, which made the song for me, like, so, say for instance, I Feel Fine, and it starts, you know, the... She's happy as can be, and though she said so. The riff's there. I'm in love with her and I feel fine. And that makes the song for me.
It does, yeah.
You know.
It's the background. George Harrison is under mine, but it's some of the songs. I mean.
Yeah, and when you look at the likes of, what was that one? Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
That's yours, isn't it? As soon as you hear the riff, you know, Lennon's going to come in with, I think I'm going, you said.
Just imagine all jam together, and he's probably just thinking the way. Do you think George started that riff, just arsing round? You know?
Yeah.
And then Lennon at the ding, that's how it goes, you know.
Yeah, and Paul was a good guitarist, and Lennon.
Yeah.
I mean, Lennon played the lead guitar break when they were on the rooftop.
Okay, yeah.
And you know, they done Get Back.
Yeah, Get Back.
That was my favourite track from that session, like.
Yeah.
But it was done live.
Yeah.
And the unusual part about it was, normally George would be the lead guitarist, obviously, but the riff, the lead solo was done by John. When you watch it back, he's playing it, and that bit goes. Get back to where you once belong. Get back to where you once belong. Get back, John. Woo. But that was Lennon playing the lead.
And
give
us a go at that, George. I'll play the lead.
Yeah, and when you look at like McCartney as well. When you look at what Paul's done, he wasn't just a great bass player. The stories that Jerry was telling me and Tony Crane and Billy Kingsley, he's a great drummer as well, Paul McCartney. Fabulous drummer. He's an all-rounder, plays keys, everything. And guitarist-wise, he did all of the lead stuff on Band on the Run. When on the whole album, more or less, him and Denny Lane, between the two of them, basically did that album. Because the master tapes were stolen. They were actually somewhere like Nigeria or something. They went to
Africa.
record it.
Was it in Africa they went to
And,
record?
yeah, and they went to this studio, and coming back they actually got held up, and they took Paul's master tape, so he had to record it all again in London. So you know, like some on Band on the Run, where it goes. That's Paul. And you know, and the bit where it goes.
The tempo changes.
Yeah. If I ever run out of this world, I've been on the way to the legislative charity. Well, that was Paul, you know.
And he's got them wrong. I think I've got to go and do them again, but that's all within his mind.
Yeah.
Gifted from the gods.
Oh yeah, well Paul's special. So obviously the Beatles influenced me something big time, you know. And then when we got, as we do the Guitar Legends show, Billy Butler narrates a little bit about the Beatles, obviously, and then even the next one, we sort of changed the second half because there's so many different ones to cover. One of my favourites was Mark Knopfler, Dire Straits. So we put the likes of the Eagles in Dire Straits. Then we put, you know, obviously the Queen in there. Brian May.
Jimmy Page.
All them, Led Zeppelin, all that. And it all changes then, you know, the show ends up a rock show. So it starts off with Django, which is all jazz.
Yeah.
Sort of gets into a bit of country as well. Sometimes we put like to Johnny Cash in there, you know. And it's like the history, but we change it round. So the Guitar Legends show is something in there for everybody, all age groups.
Well, it makes me funny because if you're down New Brighton, you'll be seeing mods, rockers, punks, sweats, you know, country, all going into one gig at one time, you know. You're going to be doing that when the lockdown's over again?
Well, we've got a gig, mentioned Dire Straits before, a tribute to Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits, myself and the band, at the Florida Pavilion on the 27th of August now, it's been moved to.
Yeah.
And also my bass player, Robbie Shirley, who, you know, he's got a voice like Sting, very, very much like Sting. He's like Alec Jones, he keeps going higher and higher. I call him Jackie Wilson, higher and higher. But he's brilliant. He's doing his tribute to the Police, and I'm on guitar for that bit.
Okay. And
our drummer. So it's like two tributes in one, but mainly Dire Straits is the...
We've got to plug your web. You got a website. It's actually www.garymurphy.rocks.
.rocks, that's it.
Say it again. www.garymurphy, lowercase, .rocks. And it's got all the links down below, by the way.
Sound like a teenager, that doesn't Gary Murphy .rocks. So, you know, sound like a young
but it rocks, doesn't it? It rocks.
I don't do much rocking and rolling now, mate. On stage, I just stand still now, you know what I mean? I don't do any of that.
So, obviously now, I mean, you played one time, I'm going to put it on the spot, you played one, you come in and you can pick a song up because you go with the times, and it was the Killers, you come in and you done Human, which surprises all, you know, you're going in for one, doing...
Are We Human? Yeah.
And then
I love all types of music, same as yourself, Jeff.
Yeah.
But me grassroots are, I suppose, like your bands like your Thin Lizzy, that's who I grew up with, Thin Lizzy, Supertramp, the Eagles, that sort of, you know, that sort of era.
Could you do me a favour, because I remember the Devil, what was that song?
Oh, The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Because you renowned all the bars and pubs that have you all of the Merseyside, they say that's the fella there called Gary Murphy. Have you heard him play that? Yeah, so... If you
played the riff.
Yeah, just played the riff, you know.
The riff was... It was the Charlie Daniels band.
Yeah.
And it was from that movie, Coyote Ugly, the Devil Went Down to Georgia. So the riff goes, it should be on a fiddle, but... Well, the devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a band and he was way behind, willing to make a deal. Then he came across this young man, soaring on a fiddle and playing it hard. Then the devil jumped upon a hickory stump and said, boy, let me tell you what. I guess you didn't know it, I'm a fiddle player too. And if you've courage to take a dare, I'll make a bet with you. And you play a pretty good fiddle, boy, give the devil his due. Let a fiddle of gold engage your soul and play down better than you. The boy said, well, my name's Johnny, and it might be a sin. I'll take your bet, you're gonna regret, and I'm the best there's ever been. Johnny rounds up your boat, lay your pillow hard. Cause hell's for Bruce and Georgia, and the devil deals the cards. And if you win, you get this shiny fiddle made of gold. If you lose, the devil gets your soul. Yeah. The devil opened up his case, said, I'll start this show. Fire flew from his fingertips as he rose up his bow. And as he pulled the bow across the strings, made an evil hiss. Band of demons joined it. Sounded something like this. When the devil finished, Johnny said, "You're pretty good, old son. Now sit down in that chair right there and let me show you how it's done. Fire on the mountain, the bullets run. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Johnny, will you die back? No child, no. Woo! The devil bowed his head, cause he knew that he'd been beat. He laid that golden fiddle on the ground at Johnny's feet. Johnny said, devil, you just come on back here if you ever want to try again. I told you once, you son of a gun, I'm the best there's ever been. He said, fire on the mountains, run, bullets, run. Now the devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bread pan, picking out dough. Granny, when you die by no child, no. I've never done that.
Absolutely amazing, right? Stand by for part 4. Thank you very much. Take care.